Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of In Pit Lane. We might remember a couple of weeks ago, although it seems like an eternity now, we were actually back in the studio and our special guest was Reef McCarthy, who'd made the huge jump from Formula V into Super 3 touring car racing. Well, I guess tonight has probably, if anything, gone one step further. He's made the jump from Hyundai Excels all the way through to Australia's fastest new category, the brutal S5000s. His name is Cooper Webster and he'll be joining us a little bit later on in the program. But right now, it's been a very, very busy weekend in motorsport. We've got drag racing from Queensland, from the United States. We've got NASCAR. We've got sports cars. We've got all sorts of things. We're even going to catch up with Monsteria to tell us what's going to happen for him next year. Let's find out what's happening with the In Pit Lane Motorsport News. A big weekend of drag racing at Willowbank in Queensland with the running of the 400 Thunder WinterNationals. It was a perfect weekend for Peter Zaberis, who defeated Phil Lamartina in the final of Top Fuel to become Australian champion and set a new 1,000-foot Top Fuel record of 3.74 seconds on race day. Scott Porter won his first WinterNationals final with a narrow win over Brian Purcell in Pro Stock. Pro Stock bikes saw a win to Glenn Worcester, who continued his season-long domination of the class. Gary Phillips won his 22nd national championship, his 21st in top alcohol, with a win over longtime rival Steve Reed. Steve Ham's Camaro won Pro Slammer by beating the Monaro of Sam Fennick in the final. And Chris Matheson soloed his way to a Top Fuel bike win with a picture-perfect run. Back in the home of drag racing, funny car legend John Force has won yet another major event with a win at New England Dragway, powering to his 153rd career victory on Sunday at the New England Nationals at Epping Dragway. In a thrilling final round, Force beat teammate Robert Height with a 3.972 second run at 527.07 kilometres per hour to hand Force his second victory of the year. In Top Fuel, number one qualifier Billy Torrance beat Mike Salinas in the final to earn his first victory of 2021 and the 7th in his career. And in Pro Stock, Aaron Stanfield won his second ever major event title, beating four-time world champ Greg Anderson with a run of 6.576 at 337.76 kilometres per hour. Toyota have won their second straight World Endurance Championship round with the new G010 hypercar after taking victory in the 8-hour race at Portico. It was a 1-2 for Toyota Gazoo Racing after the number 8 car of Sebastian Buemi, Brendan Hartley and Kazuki Nakajima took the checkered flag. The race marked Toyota's 100th Championship World Sports Car start since its Group C debut at the 1983 Fuji 1000. WEC debutants Glickenhaus Racing finished at the back of the pack after Australia's Ryan Briscoe was involved in a 3-car incident at the 2-hour mark, forcing the car into the pits for repairs. The same incident also took out fellow Aussie Matt Campbell in the Porsche. It was a Team Jota 1-2 in LMP2 with the Gonzalez da Costa Davison car taking the win. Ferrari won in both the LMGTE Pro and AM categories. On the streets of Detroit, it was a Cadillac 1-2 as Kevin Magnussen and Renger van der Zande took the number 1 Cadillac to victory lane in the Chevrolet Sports Car Classic. The Chip Ganassi team duo finished half a second ahead of the Action Express Cadillac of Felipe Nasser and Pippo Durrani. Ricky Taylor and Felipe Albuquerque finished third in the Wayne Taylor Racing Acura. In GTD, the Peregrine Racing Audi R8 crossed the finish line first, but was later relegated to the rear of the field when a post-race audit showed the team's refuelling was faster than the minimum time set out for the class according to IMSA. This handed victory to the Heart of Racing team of Ross Gunn and Roman DeAngelis, giving Aston Martin his first victory in IMSA Sports Car Championship competition. Saturday was a good day in Detroit for Chip Ganassi Racing as Marcus Ericsson won his first ever IndyCar race. Ericsson held off a challenge from Renus VK and Pato O'Ward to win the Chevrolet Grand Prix of Detroit in a 3-lap shootout on Saturday, inheriting the lead after Australia's Will Power experienced bitter disappointment that left him fuming at IndyCar officials. Power's car was in first when it initially failed to refire after IndyCar officials stopped the race with 5 laps remaining after a caution for Romain Grosjean hitting the wall. Power's car overheated and failed to restart, robbing the Queenslander of a much-needed race win. The race had been red flagged earlier after a frightening crash by Felix Rosenqvist. The team later putting the crash down to a single non-recurrent mechanical fault. You and I would call that a stuck throttle. The fact that the driver escaped any serious injury is another testament to the safety of the modern racing car and circuit barriers. Sunday saw Pato O'Ward win race 2 of Detroit for his second win of the season. O'Ward passed Joseph Newgarden for the lead with only 3 laps to go after Newgarden had dominated the race, leading for 67 laps. It was a tough weekend for Scott McLaughlin, who survived a number of scrapes with the wall and other cars to finish in positions 19th and 20th respectively. Roll up, roll up, roll up! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages, welcome to NASCAR's Circus of the Stars, the 2021 Texas All-Star Extravaganza. Yes, the annual All-Star race might be a lightweight confection made only for television, but the $1 million on offer means the drivers do take it somewhat seriously. To fully explain the format would need this news to run almost as long as Game of Thrones, so let's cut to the chase. Kyle Larson won again. Larson continued his hot streak at Texas Motor Speedway, taking the lead from Chase Elliott in the final round and then holding off a hard-charging Brad Keselowski to take the win and the $1 million first prize. The teams now stay in Texas, with the serious stuff resuming this weekend at Nashville Superspeedway. NASCAR's first race at the track since 2011 and the Cup Series' first return to the Nashville area since 1982. And if you were waiting with bated breath to find out where Chaz Mustard would be driving next season, then wait no more. He's staying at Walkinshaw Andretti United.
No, look, it's one of those things for me. I'm really feel at home where I am. Obviously, there's a speculation and there's some list for some fantastic seat out there, but to be honest, I think I've got the most prized seat in the category. You know, to have a team back you 100% and try and make a fast race car and try and achieve goals together, I think I'm very lucky to be where I am.
And that's your In-Pit Lane news for the week commencing Monday, June the 14th, 2021. There'll be more news next week. Same In-Pit Lane time, same community channel. We're going to take a break now on In-Pit Lane, but when we come back, we're going to be joined by our special guest, S5000 racer Cooper Webster. So don't go away. This is In-Pit Lane on Channel 31 Melbourne and the In-Pit Lane YouTube channel. Don't go away. We will be right back. Welcome back to In-Pit Lane. Well, our guest tonight is certainly the definition of a young man in a hurry. He started off in karts, of course, like so many other drivers, before moving to Hyundai Excels. But then he made the huge step into the fastest category in Australia, the new V8-powered open-wheel category S5000. He did a pretty good job of it too. In only his second full meeting, he managed to win a race down at Phillip Island against some of the best drivers in the country in appalling conditions. So, caught up with him a little bit earlier in the week to have a chat about the category and about his future. So let's join him now in country Victoria. This is Cooper Webster. Well, Cooper, thanks for joining us. So it's a big jump. I mean, going from karts to Hyundais, suddenly to jump behind the wheel of an S5000. How did it all happen so quickly?
Yeah, it did happen all very, very quickly. I got the offer through one of our mates that met with the owner of 88 Racing and just got together and got my name out there, and we got the a test day in the car, which was all very exciting. It was nothing that I ever would have thought I would have got to driven from only racing Excels, but yeah, just jumped at the opportunity and took it with both hands, and we got to run the whole season, so it worked out. Something that grew from something that I never would have thought would have ever happened. So I'm just so grateful for that opportunity, and we did the best we could in our first season.
Well, you certainly did very well. I mean, in what was it, only your second meeting, I think, at Phillip Island, you actually ended up winning a race in terrible conditions. I was down there that day, and it absolutely poured down. Tell us about that. I mean, how did you have to keep pinching yourself when you suddenly realised, oh my God, I'm in front?
Yeah, exactly. I went into that race not knowing exactly what it was going to be like. So I was like sitting in the garage, realized it's just started raining, and was thinking, okay, well, just going to have to feel for the conditions, and because the cars are just hard enough to drive in the dry conditions. So in the wet, it was like I didn't know really at all what I was going to expect, and I was starting off the front row, which is not great for when you're racing the wet, because it's a lot harder to gauge the conditions because there's no cars in front to see how fast you can go through corners. But I got a good start and was really cautious into turn one, and then just took each corner. Sort of what I thought would how much grip it would have, and just kind of did it instinctively. And as I got through a couple laps at the front, staying in the lead, I was like, oh, okay, this is good. When are they going to catch me? I was kind of thinking, looking in the mirrors every lap, and they weren't really. So I was just kind of gauging how hard I pushed in that race by how much they were catching me. So if they were catching me, I was pushing a little bit harder in a few spots, and if I got a gap, then I would back off just to be as cautious as possible. So. And there's a picture of Randall right behind me down the straight, and I couldn't see him in the mirrors when he was that close. So when they came in and told me that he was that close in the race, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, it got really bad towards the end of that race, to the point where it was aquaplaning up the back straight. So I was just praying and praying that the flag would come out. So, but yeah, when we crossed the line, it was just unreal. And I could only compare how I felt like that to maybe when I won the Nationals in go-karts. So it was just awesome.
Obviously, coming from a go-karting background, you're used to a lot of close racing and high pressure and all that. But as I said, you did jump out of it circuit racing level. You've jumped out of the Hyundai Excels. We had Ruth McCarthy on recently on the program, who did something similar in jumping out of Formula V straight into Super 3 racing. Was there anything at all you were able to take from Hyundai racing into S5000, or was it just totally learning from the start again?
Yeah. Well, thinking about it, I would have thought, like, on my very first test day, I felt like I maybe would have been more prepared if I didn't do Excels, in the sense of how quick the car was. The things that I did take from Excels to S5000 were probably like learning the tracks and learning what it's like to race in something a lot heavier than a go-kart, and sort of momentum, and like you can't just fire it in as you would in a go-kart. You've got to kind of expect to have a lot of weight behind you. And so in that respect I did, but I felt like the Hyundai Excel, you had so much time to think around the lap, and where you'd look on the track for markers changed massively from the S5000 to the Hyundai. So you could go through turn one in the Excel and look at the inside wall, and then look at the flag point on the inside to gauge references. And this, you had to go through turn one and then look at the apex straight away of turn two. So just learning those sort of things, it took a little while, as you could imagine. So maybe that in that regard, maybe just jumping from cars to S5000 would have been better, but it was an option. So, but yeah, I think it just with the laps that I got, I think I got that under my belt now, and I'm pretty comfortable in the car.
You certainly you suddenly had all of this attention thrust on you after that race win. I mean, how did you find that? I mean, suddenly you went from, that's the sort of midfield guy, to suddenly being a race winner and having all the media attention and people like me and other people in the media talking to you. How comfortable have you been with that?
No, I'm all.
Welcome back to In Pit Lane. Well, I guess tonight is S5000 driver Cooper Webster. And Cooper, the series, of course, for 2021 is over, but S5000 are doing something rather different in Australia, and as far as I'm concerned, it's way overdue. Australia, the only country in the world that thinks motorsport is a winter sport. S5000 is moving to a summer series, which starts in September. What are your plans for that? Will you be on the grid for S5000 in September, and how are you feeling about a summer series?
Yeah, I'm excited to run across the summer, and yeah, I'll be there in the next season of S5000. I'm super excited to get to the races at the Gold Coast and Bathurst and the Grand Prix. Hopefully, just the category's been run super professional, and the cars are awesome to drive, and GRM are doing an awesome job at making this category work. So yeah, I can't wait to get back into the series and try out those prestigious events at those tracks that are going to be ridiculous and super exciting and once in a lifetime sort of thing to get to race at. So no, I'm really looking forward to it.
And what are the long-term plans? I mean, are you looking beyond S5000, either locally or internationally?
Yeah, well, we are a little bit. We have to have so much focus on the S5000 category that it is hard to think about possible opportunities overseas. But yeah, we're looking for, like, racing in the S5000 category has opened us up to open wheeler opportunities for the future. So maybe we'll head down the IndyCar pathway and see how that works, because yeah, we never thought about it before racing in an open wheel category. We were sort of only looked at racing in Excels, we looked at supercars and things like that, but this opportunity came up. We're running this category and it's going really well. So yeah, we've looked down the IndyCar route to maybe as a future option.
And that is the thing about this category, isn't it? That you've got that opportunity, and especially if you have the internationals coming in, you've suddenly got that opportunity open again. So good luck with that. Hope that it goes well. It was a great performance at Phillip Island through the year. For your first year, it was absolutely incredible. But we wish you all the best for the future. But for now, Cooper Webster, thanks for joining us in Pit Lane.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
The show may be over, but the motorsport chat continues with Full Course Yellow, the In Pit Lane after party. We're on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel live most Thursday nights at 9:30, straight after In Pit Lane here on Channel 31. So, why not join us? I hope that you will join us straight after the program on Full Course Yellow. It's a program very much driven by you. We get your questions, your comments, and we sort of answer them and have a chat amongst ourselves as well. Not just about motor racing, mostly about motor racing, but we also sort of, we drift off on occasion. One way we might drift off is into the realm of music, and to take us out tonight, more live music from the Tune-Up, our Wednesday night sessions at the Mr. Boogeyman Bar in Hoddle Street, Collingwood. And we've got a couple of weeks left of that, so if you'd like to get down there one Wednesday night until the end of June, we're on there about 8:30, 8 o'clock every Wednesday night for the next couple of weeks. So head down and see us. A couple of weeks ago, we were joined by a band, Monsteria, and they absolutely shook the place to pieces. It was an interesting night. It was a full total eclipse of the moon, not of the sun, a total eclipse of the moon. And we went out and we sort of covered that as well. In fact, if you go to the In Pit Lane YouTube channel, you can check out that live stream, and you can actually see us start off with that total eclipse. It was certainly an interesting night. They're going to take us out now, Monsteria, that is, going to take us out with their song Zombie. So until we see you next week on In Pit Lane, from all of us here at In Pit Lane, thanks a lot for joining us. And right now, on stage at the Mr. Boogeyman Bar, this is Monsteria and Zombie. Good night.
Dreadful, I see.
if it gets my name out there, then I'm absolutely fine with it. But it is definitely maybe a situation I haven't been in before in my career. So getting used to interviews like this, I'm getting better at. So that's all good and stuff. But yeah, I was always hoping that I wasn't going to be regarded as the guy that runs in the midfield in the S5000 category. So yeah, it was good. It was good.
Well, you're certainly doing a good job at the moment. One thing you'll find in media is that we have these things called commercial breaks, and we're going to come up and have one right now on Channel 31 and in Pit Lane. But when we come back, we're going to be joined once again by our special guest, Cooper Webster. You're watching In Pit Lane here on C31 and on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel. Don't go away. We'll be right back.